Hello, everybody. This is Shadowstorm from MLCW, and um, I guess we're doing some Rotten and Slugazoid reviews because nobody's done this yet on the channel. So, yeah, let's get into that. Rotten is overall a fairly good monster. Feels a lot like the cosmic version of Lonrad, having Resurrection and the PER and NER and all that. Trait is decent, I guess. Immunity to freeze, it's not a bad effect, but it's not very useful at the moment with there being not many freeze deniers that are actually prevalent in the meta. Immunity to ignited burn is again not very useful. And SC damage protection is fairly nice with the abundance of cosmic attackers that are capable of doing a lot of damage. It's not a horrible trait, but could be a lot better. Stats overall are fairly good. Low power, as it's typical for supports. He's fairly fast for a cosmic, and life, I believe, is okay. About moderate as far as cosmics go. Skills, again, are pretty good. He has 2 resurrection skills, LF5 and Soul of the Apprentice. I'm only running one of those. I don't feel like Soul of the Apprentice is as useful because it applies Sunburn to Rotten and only resurrects them with 1% life, which St. George's Apprentice on Wormlad gives them regen too, so it kind of helps them come back from only having 1% life, but Rotten doesn't have that, at least not on the same move, so I feel like LF5 is just a better move to use. Mud Realm is, I think, a pretty good move. It has a lot of useful effects, damage protection, regen, and immunity control, all of which are fairly nice. So yeah, that's overall a pretty good move. Never Enough. It's a bit bland as far as moves go, but I feel like it is a useful one to have because of the 1-turn cooldown. It can be really useful against deniers, like specifically Kodama and Siamus, who are both fairly prevalent in the meta at the moment, and who both use CDA. So having a low cooldown NER move could be useful. And Little Succubus, it's just a PER move. Has a bit of damage and a torture in there, albeit one of the worst tortures, but still a torture nonetheless. Rotten's special is not very good. It just does damage and 2 tortures, one of which is pretty bad, one of which is good, but still not enough to make it make it a very good special. I think in most cases I would just use one of his normal moves over his special, but it's just pretty bland. Relic slots are okay, I guess. Like, this trap slot can be useful. Double trap is a bit weird. Not necessarily bad, but there's a lot of... It could be a lot better. Run could have had, Banner or Mask or Essence or any of that instead of double trap, which I think would have been better relic slots for him, but double trap isn't horrible. It's not like double sword or something, which would just be pretty bad on a support that does barely any damage. Yeah. Overall, I think Ron is a pretty good monster. Not meta-defining or anything, but I think he's pretty good. Sort of like the mythic or the cosmic version of Lonrad, with some resurrection in the PER and NER and all that. Yeah. So let's move on to Slugazoid. Slugazoid, as most of you know by now, is quite a bit worse, debatably one of the worst cosmics. I would personally say he's a little bit better than Thunder Kong, but that's debatable between which of them is the worst cosmic. Trait, again, like Rotten, has immunity to freeze, which is not the most useful trait in the meta at the moment. I suppose it might become more useful once like freeze deniers, cosmic freeze deniers come out, but at the moment it's not that good of a trait. Overall, it's not bad, but immunity to blind is not a very, generally speaking, not a very useful skill. There's not too many like total blind monsters or anything like that, so I can't see that being too useful. 50% damage mirror could potentially be good against like attacker cosmics, but still, like in that case, I feel like I would rather have like damage protection like Rotten does, so you don't have to like take damage to give them damage. I feel like that's just a trade-off, but and you don't even, it's not 100% either, so it's like you take more damage than you're giving back. It's an okay effect. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not, could be a lot better. Slugazoid's stats. Power, pretty low. For a denier, that's fairly typical. Life, I think, is about moderate for a cosmic, maybe a little bit on the lower side. Speed, I believe, is fairly good, but I think still slower than a fair amount of cosmics. Skills are not that great. This is the moveset I'm running on Slugazoid. I mean, I don't use him much, but if I am to use him, mostly for like infinite gauntlet and stuff like that, this is the set I run. 50% stamina removal, AoE decrease stamina, maximum stamina decrease, the single target 100% stamina removal, and the zero stamina, 0 cooldown, 50% freeze. He has like AoE stamina leak and drowned and stuff like that too. Deadly Snowflake is not a bad move. I could see running this in certain circumstances. I guess I'm trying to make him like as much of a denier as possible. Be able to deny a bit better than have this move. But 75% life shield and damage mirror, 100% damage mirror is overall a fairly good move. But again, nothing too spectacular in there, and no like guaranteed AoE denial. I mean, with relics and stuff, you could, I suppose, turn like the 50% denial, the 50% stamina removal move into like a 100%, but still, he doesn't actually have like an AoE 100% stamina removal skill or an AoE freeze or any of that stuff, which makes him overall a pretty weak denier. Special is pretty good. A lot of damage, and basically 2-turn denial, because it freezes them for 1 turn, then they'll have to recharge on the 2nd turn. Special is actually, yeah, pretty good for a cosmic. A lot better than Rotten's, anyway. Relics are Staff Trap, which I would say for a denier is fairly good. Staff is one of the better denier relics, because there's a lot of staffs that can like remove stamina and stuff. Yeah, which I guess helps Slugazoid be a little bit better at having an AoE denial. Like, you could run like Pump Seed Staff on him, and I think AoE deny with the 50% stamina removal move, and Trap is just a good utility relic, I guess. It's just nice to have for, some of the stamina removal to enemies and stuff like that. But overall, he's a pretty bad denier. I mean, at least compared to stuff like Blackfeather, who has like an AoE denial, which is kind of, I mean, it makes him a pretty bad denier since he doesn't have that. I think he might be okay as like a team speed holder, like a secondary denier, not like your primary denier, but even so, there's probably better options for that slot too. So yeah, Slugazoid is not a very good cosmic. One of the worst, if not the worst, at the moment. So yeah. Now you all can shut up about having me do a voice reveal. Here's that. Yeah, so that's the video.